Welcome, deep divers. Today, we are really diving headfirst into, well, one of the most exciting things happening in cricket right now. That's the India Women's Team Tour of England, happening June and July 2025. It's already been pretty intense.
Absolutely, a real whirlwind already.
And the strategic side of things, the sort of chess match on the pitch, it's just compelling viewing.
It really is.
So our mission today for this deep dive is to kind of cut through all the noise. We want to unpack these initial results, look at the tactics, and really get a sense of the bigger picture, especially after that first T20 International.
Yeah, that first match really set a tone.
Exactly. And we've gathered, well, loads of sources, match reports, strategic analysis, the works, really, to give you the clearest possible picture.
And you're spot on. It's a tour that carries significant weight. It's a pretty comprehensive setup.
Right.
5 2020 internationals, then 3 one-day internationals. And all happening at these, iconic English grounds. Trent Bridge, Bristol, Lords, Edgbaston.
The classic venues.
Yeah. And the drama, let's be honest, the stakes were high right from the first ball. It set things up beautifully.
So, okay, with that excitement kind of bubbling, let's get down to the nuts and bolts. What's the actual schedule, the roadmap for the whole series?
Okay, so it runs from late June right through to late July 2025. 2 formats, as you said.
T20s and ODIs.
Exactly. The 5 T20s kicked off June 28th at Trent Bridge. Then it's Bristol, the Oval in London, Manchester, and finishing in Birmingham.
Quite the tour around England.
It is. And then once the T20s wrap up, the ODIs start on July 16th. Southampton first, then the big one at Lords, and finishing up at Chesterfield Street.
A packed summer of cricket, no doubt.
Definitely.
And, a big part of any series is who's in charge, who are the key players to watch.
Absolutely crucial. So for England, the captain is Nat Sciver-Brunt. Fantastic all-rounder. And she's got support from players like Sophia Dunkley, Sophie Ecclestone, Lauren Bell, Tammy Beaumont, Charlie Dean. A strong lineup.
And India.
India's led by their regular captain, Harmanpreet Kaur. And you've got stalwarts there, too, like Smriti Mandhana as vice-captain, Jemima Rodriguez, Deepti Sharma, Shafali Verma. Big names.
Right. But there was a change for the first game, wasn't there?
Yes, exactly. A key thing to note. Smriti Mandhana actually captained that first T20. Harmanpreet Kaur, unfortunately, picked up a head injury in a warm-up.
Ah, okay.
So Mandhana stepped up, and there was another change, too. Radha Yadav came in for Shuchi Upadhyay, who was injured. So, it immediately tested India's depth.
Interesting. And isn't there another layer here? The men's series is happening at the same time?
Yeah, that's right. England versus India, men's matches running concurrently. So if you're a fan, it's like a double bill of top-class cricket almost every day.
Fantastic for the viewers. Okay, so speaking of setting the tone, that first T20I at Trent Bridge, June 28th.
Wow. Just wow.
India batted first.
Yeah.
And they didn't just, set a target. They hammered 210 for 5.
A huge score in a T20.
And the absolute standout, Smriti Mandhana, unbeaten 112. Just 62 balls, 15 fours, 3 sixes. I mean, what makes that inning so special? It's more than just runs, right?
No, absolutely. It's genuinely historic. This wasn't just like her first T20 100.
Right.
It made her the first Indian woman to score centuries in all 3 international formats. Tests, ODIs, and now T20Is.
That's incredible versatility.
It really is. Think about the skill, the temperament needed for that. And on top of that, it was the highest score ever by an Indian woman in T20s.
Highest ever.
Yep. And get this, 78 of her runs came just from boundaries. 4s and 6s. That's another Indian record for a T20 innings. It wasn't just a match-winning knock. It set the psychological tone for the whole tour. Put England under massive pressure straight away.
That's an incredible individual performance, no doubt. The impact is obvious.
Yeah.
But does relying so heavily on one player, even someone as brilliant as Mandhana, maybe raise a little question about the middle order? Or is it just, her sheer class and a deliberate tactic?
That's a fair question to ask, definitely. But looking at the sources, it seems more like the second thing, a testament to Mandhana's incredible ability to both anchor and then just explode.
Right.
Her innings wasn't just about runs, it was a tactical statement. It immediately makes England rethink their whole opening bowling plan, doesn't it?
Yeah. Forces their hand.
Exactly. Maybe bringing on defensive fields earlier than they'd want. It's about winning the match, sure, but also winning that mental battle, dictating how the game is played. Others chipped in, yeah, but her role was clear. Provide that solid base and then the explosive finish. It's a huge strength for India.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the bowling.
Yeah.
India had 210 on the board.
Yeah.
Who stepped up to seal the deal? How did they dismantle England so well thoroughly?
That was down to an amazing debut performance. Sri Charani.
The debutante.
Yeah. Incredible figures. 4 for 12. Just brilliant. What made her so good was her control, her consistent line and length, attacking the stumps, giving nothing away.
Choke the runs.
Completely. And sources say she was swinging it both ways too, which on debut is seriously impressive. England they just folded. All out for 113.
Wow.
Only the captain, Nat Cyver-Brunt, really put up a fight. She got a decent 66. But yeah, India won by a massive 97 runs.
97 runs.
Which is, believe it or not, England's heaviest ever defeat in T20 internationals.
That's a huge statement win for India. Any positives for England's bowlers in that first innings?
Well, Lauren Bell did manage to pick up 3 wickets for 27 runs. Some resistance there. But the damage from Mandhana was just too much.
Right. So that was the first game, dominant India. Where are things now? We're recording this on July 1st. What's the latest?
Okay, so today, July 1st, it's all about the second T20I in Bristol. Just getting underway or building up.
All right.
England's skipper, Nat Cyver-Brunt, won the toss, and she chose to field first, decided to chase this time.
Interesting choice after the first game.
It is, and India significantly fielded an unchanged side, which means Harmanpreet Kaur is back.
Recovered from the head knock. That's big for India.
Huge boost, yeah. And another milestone, actually, this match is Smriti Mandhana's 150th T20 International.
Quite the career already.
Indeed. Weather-wise, in Bristol, it's around 18-20 degrees Celsius. Bit of rain forecast, so that could play a part, maybe disrupt things a little.
Always adds an extra element.
For sure. And the narrative is clear. After that really heavy loss in the first game, this match is a massive test of England's resilience, their character. Can they bounce back?
Yeah, absolutely crucial for them. The full result is still pending for listeners, obviously.
That's right. Keep an eye out for how that one unfolds.
So let's step back a bit. After that first match, what are the big strategic takeaways? Let's start with India's dominance. What were the key factors?
Well, several things really stand out for India from that first game. Obviously, Mandhana's power hitting and her leadership stepping in as captain, that was crucial. Her 100 didn't just set the score, it dictated the whole pace, let other batters play freely.
Right, took the pressure off.
Exactly. Then there's the bowling depth. Sri Charani's debut, 4 for 12, was phenomenal. But it wasn't just her. Their main spinners were really adaptable, effective in the power play and the middle overs, controlling the run rate, taking wickets.
That adaptability seems key.
It really is. And you saw it in the team overall, too. Mandhana steps in as captain seamlessly, shows their depth, and now Harmanpreet's back for the second game, adding her all-round ability. It just gives them incredible balance.
Okay, so India looking very strong. What about England? How do they respond? They've been doing some serious thinking after that loss. What's the strategy to bounce back?
Oh, absolutely. Sources are saying they've gone into, some intense mid-series reflection, tough fielding drills, a real tactical rethink on the bowling front.
Needs must, I suppose.
Pretty much. Nat Cyver-Brunt's leadership, well, she's getting praise for her resilience. She scored that 66 even as the team collapsed, showed real fight.
Yeah, led from the front with the bat at least.
Right. But the fielding, that's a major headache.
Yeah.
Dropped catches, basic misfields. And then that slow overrate fine, 10% of their match fees.
Ouch. That stings.
It does. And it's not just individual mistakes. It points to maybe a bigger issue, concentration, intensity, perhaps. It feels like something systemic they need to fix, not just a quick patch-up job. It's maybe about building a tougher competitive culture long-term.
A deeper issue than just one bad day.
Potentially.
Right.
So the bowling recalibration is focusing on basics, consistent lines, more variation, and crucially, getting early wickets in the power play.
Yeah.
They need bowlers like Ecclestone, Dean, Bell, Sarah Glenn to really step up and, tighten the screws.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's widen the lens a bit. What's the recent history between these two teams? How does this series fit into their ongoing rivalry?
It's been a really dynamic rivalry recently. Quite back and forth. You look at 2023, India had that massive test win against England in Navi Mumbai, won by 347 runs.
Huge margin.
Yeah, their first home test win against England in 29 years. Deepti Sharma was player of the match. That was a big statement.
Definitely.
But in the shorter formats, it's been more mixed. On that same tour, India actually lost the T20 series 2-1. And it wasn't a one-off. England also beat them 2-1 in a T20 series back in December 2023. So, while India's bowling is clearly a threat across all formats, England have shown they can definitely compete and win in T20s. Makes this current series even more interesting.
It really does. And what's fascinating, I think, is how this T20 series, this whole tour really, feeds into the bigger conversation. More visibility, more interest, maybe pushing towards more women's test cricket down the line.
Yeah.
It feels like a real moment for the women's game.
Yeah.
Do you have like a memory from when you were younger watching cricket that makes you really appreciate this progress now?
Oh, absolutely. It feels completely pivotal. I remember growing up, you could barely find women's cricket on TV, you know? Getting score updates was hard sometimes.
Right.
So to see a full multi-format tour like this, running alongside the men's, getting proper media coverage, decent crowds, it's not just progress, it feels like a genuine revolution in how the game is seen and valued. It's about building that professional structure, creating those role models. It's huge.
Couldn't agree more. It's brilliant to see. Now let's zoom in on some of the key individuals really shaping this series. Who stands out for you?
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
First, obviously, Smriti Mandhana for India. That tour opening 112, just sublime stroke play. It wasn't just the runs. It showed her temperament, her adaptability, performing under pressure, just world class. Then Sri Charani India again, that debut. 4 for 12, one of the most economical spells you see. It wasn't just the wickets, it was the control, the deception. She completely dismantled England's lower order. Huge impact.
Amazing debut.
Then you've got the duo of Shafali Verma and Harmanpreet Kaur for India. Their experience, their versatility, especially opening or in the top order, it's vital in T20s. And Harmanpreet's return, specifically, adds so much. Her batting, her handy medium pace brings real balance.
Yeah, that all-round capability is crucial.
Definitely. For England, Nat Saber-Brunt, you have to admire her resilience as captain. And her batting, getting that 66 when everything was collapsing around her, shows her individual quality. But, you know, the pressure is really on her now to lift the whole team.
Big responsibility.
Huge. And finally, for England's bowlers, Sophie Ecclestone, Lauren Bell, Charlie Dean, they are absolutely key to any England comeback. Their spin, their variations, the ability to take wickets and control the middle overs, that's where England needs to make inroads. They need to be consistently good.
Right, a lot rests on their shoulders. So if we pull back again, think about the bigger picture. What are the main themes, the sort of storylines emerging from this tour so far? What will we remember it for?
Well, a few big ones are already clear, I think. First, that mental advantage and momentum swing, India's got it right now after that huge win.
Yeah, psychologically massive.
Exactly. It gives them confidence, a tactical edge. England, they face a huge mental test now to regroup, to believe they can fight back. Second, bench strength and new talent. India bringing in Charani, Mandhana stepping up as captain. It shows real depth. They look resilient. England, under this pressure, seem to be struggling a bit more to find players who can step up immediately. That highlights India's development pipeline, maybe?
Interesting comparison.
Third, discipline and fielding. This is becoming a major talking point. England's errors, the slow over rate, it points to a need for real improvement there. Contrast that with India, who looked pretty sharp in the field in that first game. It's a clear difference right now.
Little things that add up.
They really do. And finally, just the historical progression. This whole tour, T20s, ODIs, tests, eventually it shows a real commitment to playing all formats, pushing for parity. It's more than just this series. It's part of the wider growth of women's cricket globally.
Absolutely. Which leads to the big question.
Yeah.
What can we expect next? The rest of the T20s and then the ODIs.
Okay, so for the rest of the T20s, matches 2 through 5, England simply have to regroup. They need to adapt, maybe deal with changing conditions like the weather in Bristol.
Find some answers quickly.
Exactly. India, meanwhile, will want to consolidate. Keep that batting depth firing, keep rotating their bowlers effectively, maintain the pressure.
And the ODIs starting later in July.
Yeah, that's a shift. 50-over cricket needs different skills, different pacing. India's bench strength could be even more important there. England's bowlers will need to adapt their strategies for the longer format. We could see some great battles like Mandhana versus Ecclestone in those middle overs.
That'd be fascinating.
Or India's all-rounders against England's seam and spin attack. And underpinning everything will be that need for fielding consistency, and for England especially, keeping an eye on that over rate. Discipline remains key.
So, final thoughts. How is this series really impacting the wider world of women's cricket? What are the ripple effects?
I think the impact is pretty significant even already. You can feel the buzz, right? Viewership seems to be up, more coverage, more discussion in both the UK and India.
Definitely more visible.
Yeah. And performances like Mandhana hitting centuries in all formats, or Charani's debut, they set new benchmarks. They inspire the next generation watching.
Raising the bar.
Exactly. And maybe their bowling plans. It forces a rethink, a system recalibration for them. Other teams will be watching that. Meanwhile, India's approach, their focus on multi-format readiness, looks like a strong model right now.
A blueprint, almost.
Could be.
So just to wrap up our deep dive then, this India Women's Tour of England 2025, it's clearly a landmark moment, a really important chapter in the story of women's cricket. India's opening win was just so commanding, wasn't it? Mandhana's incredible century, Charani's debut.
Yeah, they laid down a serious marker. But the series is far from over. It's poised now for this fascinating contest skill, tactics, adaptability. For England, it's a huge test of character, discipline, leadership. Can they hit back? And for India, it's a chance to really assert themselves, show their strength across all formats. That first T20 set an incredibly high standard, but the rest of the tour will really show us the true depth of both teams.
Absolutely. You know, this isn't just about cricket formats, is it? It feels like a living story of progress, ambition, how the whole sport is evolving globally. So the question for you, listening in, what part of this deep dive really clicks with you as women's cricket keeps building its own powerful, unique legacy?